welcome in everybody to another edition of MVP, the Mo Vaughn podcast, powered by Perfect Game and the Vaughn Sports Academy. And very excited to talk to our next guest, Dan Plesac, joining us here. Mo, excited about this one?
All right, listen, this guy is, we don't have to know each other like every day, but because, you know, he was a specialist facing lefties. I faced him my whole career whenever he was in the American League, which was a lot of years. We just have that camaraderie and that understanding of what it's like to be in a high leverage situation, and either you're going to come through or you're not going to come through, and you got to go answer questions after and do your job. So it's great to see Dan. Great to see you today. What a great job you're doing and what a great career you had.
Thanks, Mo. I got to tell you, man, you caused me a lot of sleepless nights, my friend. Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. I get to ask this question a lot. Like, man, you faced a lot of guys. Who are like the most intimidating guys you ever faced? I said, well, at the top of the list would be Mo Vaughn. I said I'd have to put Andre Dawson in that list. I'd probably put Canseco and McGuire in that list because, man, it was hard not to miss you when you walked in the batter's box. I know you're a nice guy. I know you're a nice guy because I played with Paul Quantrill with the Blue Jays, and you know, had a lot of conversations. I said, "Hey, that Mo Vaughn, man, if he ever charged him out, would he kill me?" He goes, "Nah, man, he's really a good guy." I said, "He don't look like a good guy." Not that I'm planning on hitting him anytime soon, but I said, "Man, I'll tell you what, I really respect the way that guy plays." And I got to tell you this: you took me deep in Fenway, opposite field, and I will say this, man. You played the game hard. You played the game right. But what I really appreciated, we had a lot of battles. You hit, you ran around the bases, didn't show me up. And it really meant a lot because you and I had a lot of head-to-head battles because with the Blue Jays, man, it was always any game that was close in Fenway or Toronto, you were coming up and it was like, man, I kind of knew when the season started, I'm going to have a short story called Mo Vaughn in my life this year because I couldn't get around you, man.
Yeah, it's, you know, you mark those players. You mark those guys in the bullpen that you're going to see in key situations. And Dan, you know, he was early in his career, he was throwing mid-90s with a slider. And then he reinvented himself. And that's what I talk about in terms of pitching and knowing how to pitch. He wasn't throwing as hard, but he still was inside, outside, up, down, hard curve, slow curve, slider. He was pitching. And you really had to try to concentrate on guys that knew what he would do. He knew what he wanted to do. He came there with a plan to execute on how to get guys out, and he stuck with it. And what a like I said, I don't have to know where he came from. I don't have to know, you know, his family. I know him because you got to be that type of dude to be as successful as he was. So it's great. It's great.
You know, Vaughn. It's a great observation by you because about 5 years in my career with Milwaukee, man, I was throwing hard. I was 95, 98 with a hard slider. And I was working out in the winter one day, and Pete Vukovich, who won a Cy Young in the American League, he was working out at this place I was. He was kind of overseeing it. And he watched me throw, and he said to me, he said, "Hey, lefty, you know, you don't got that fire on the end of that heater anymore. Have you ever thought about throwing a 2-2 slider or a 2-2 fastball up and away, way out of the zone to a good hitting lefty like Mo Vaughn, Ken Griffey, good hitters. Throw a 2-2 fastball up and away to run the count to 3-2 to throw a 3-2 breaking ball." Man, I looked at him, Mo, and I said, hell no. They're in a pitcher live that wants to go 3-2. And he said, well, with the stuff you have right now, you're going to have to start doing that because, you know, that 3-2 heater to get me over, that's 96 would cut. It's not there anymore. So show him 2-2 up and away. And most of the guys are going to go like, man, he's not going to come back 3-2 breaking ball, but you got to learn to throw it for a strike. The hardest thing for me, Mo, I had to teach myself how to pitch after I was in the big leagues for 6 years, because when I first got called up with Milwaukee, man, I was 97, 98 with a hard slider. And it was pretty much, I'd come in, get ahead, two strikes, bounce a slider, and they would swing at it. But I never really could command the slider to throw it for a strike. So I had to teach myself different grips to like, okay, one I can throw over and one that's got a little bit more break, but the one that I have to get over, I can't just flip it up there. I got to make it good enough that I can get it for a strike or, have a guy at least lock up a little bit. And then it took me 2 years to get to that point. And I don't know how many times the last 2 or 3 years I was in like first and third, 2 outs on the road, crowds going nuts, 2 balls, 2 strikes. I'm like, okay, I'm going to throw a fastball for decoration up and away, and I'm going to throw a 3-2 breaking ball. And I didn't always get swings and misses, but I got a lot of pop-ups 3-2 and a lot of check swings. And I thank Pete Vukovich for that. I had to teach myself how to pitch after I'd already been in the league 6 years.
You talked a little bit about that with 2 years, but how nerve wracking is that to try something new? When are you doing that in the off season? And then when does it get to the point where you want to unveil it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and I'm sure Mo can speak to this, man. When you first come up, you have the gifts of natural, your physical skills and your eye hand get you through. You don't have to you see guys that, veteran guys when you're a young player, they have all these little notes and things that they do and they remember what guys threw to them. And I'm thinking, man, that's way too much info for me. But I remember I had a really 2-year bad stretch with the Cubs when I was trying to learn how to do all this. And a lot of times it didn't work. The 3-2 breaking ball that I wanted to throw for a strike was flat and got hit in a gap. But the one thing I think I always tried to tell myself is have a plan and stick with it. And no matter hell or high water, I know that this plan is going to work for me. And I'll give you an example, talking about that home run that Mo hit off me in Fenway. I always felt like with lefties, unless you had a good 2-seamer that had run in there, going in on a lefty was a very dangerous place because with the exception of Mo Vaughn, with the exception of Rafael Palmeiro, Ken Griffey Jr., most lefties, they leak a little bit. That front side opens up just a little bit. So why do you want to throw the ball where they're running away from? If they're bailing out, I don't want to throw it into the bail. I'm just helping them out. So I got to a point where I was like, I have to learn how to perfect down and away. I have to throw a fastball for a strike with my eyes closed to a lefty, and I have to perfect that. And it took me a while to do it. And after Mo hit that home run off me in Fenway, Cito Gaston called me in afterwards. He said, how many times we got to tell you guys, you can't keep pitching that guy away. He plays pepper with that wall. He's so big and strong. I mean, for him, he hits one off the end of the bat. He hits it into the net above the green monster. And I listened to what Cito said, but I knew deep down inside, I didn't have the stuff to pitch into lefties that if I had to face Mo 10 times, I was staying down and away all 10 times, and he might get me once, and it might cost me a game, unfortunately, but I knew I couldn't live in there because I didn't throw hard enough to go in there. That was my thinking.
But that was a change. And that's what pitching is. And you know what's so crazy, Dan, is there's guys that what's coming because they can't command. And then exactly, the 2-2 fastball up, he throws it away, and I'm going, did he do that on purpose? Or is this a setup pitch? Or what's he going to do? And that split second of not being sure what he's going to do gave him the edge at 3-2. And that's what you need to understand how to pitch in the big leagues, is having that second guess of, I'm not sure what he's going to throw here. And as soon as you get that, and I had that with him, that's how he handles the situation. And that's what I talk about in terms of command and understanding and knowing how to put your pitches in perfect situations. Because as a left-handed hitter, we always look in because we say, if Dan can paint me 3 times away, I'm going to give it to him. But anything at me and up, I'm hacking.
Yeah.
He can paint. And that's why he got guys out.
Yeah, the only time that, I'll be honest, I stuck to that plan the last 5 years, the only time that it concerned me, if I face Mo Vaughn, Ken Griffey, Rafael Palmeiro with first and second with 2 outs, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, man, I know Mo can hit the ball and drive it to left center field, and a base hit here in a tie game is going to lose the game. So that's where I felt Mo had the advantage, because in a tie game at Fenway in the 10th inning with first and second and 2 outs, that I knew that he knew I wasn't throwing anything that was coming in. but I also had to live and say, okay, if he hits a line drive in a gap in left center field, I have to wear this one. But I just know over time, I can't pitch Mo Vaughn inside anymore because I don't throw hard enough anymore, and I got to just live with it.
How is that mental game, though? Like, it feels like such a thankless job. It's like, it almost feels like kicker and NFL. You better make your kick. You better get out these lefties because that's what we're expecting out of you. That's got to be such a mental wear and tear, Dan.
Yeah, I'll tell you when it wears on you. I had a stretch for about a year and a half with the Diamondbacks. And we played the Giants a lot. So it was Barry Bonds. It was JT Snow all the time. We went into San Francisco. They came into our place. And, I was like, okay, I know I'm getting Snow. I know I'm getting Bonds. They're not pitch hitting for Barry at all. And when you're in one of these ruts, and I went through a lot of them where, for like 2 or 3 weeks, if you're not quite on, I didn't face enough hitters to get sharp. So like my job was to get Mo Vaughn in the 8th inning with first and third in 2 outs. And if I didn't get Mo Vaughn out, he got a base hit, 1 hitter, boom, I'm out of the game. Now I got to sit on that thing for a couple of days. And then the next situation was we went to Texas and I get Rafael Palmeiro. So I get righty, lefty, right? A lefty, righty, lefty. And you give up a base hit to the first lefty, they're going to take you out because the righty's coming up and it can tie the game up. So that's the part that like it wears on you after a while where when it's going good, it's great. But when things aren't going good, and I'm sure Mo can talk about this, man, it seems like I would imagine when you're hitting and you could go, I'm just imagining I'm being inside Mo Vaughn. You could go 2 for 3 the first 6 innings of a game. And all of a sudden it's 6-5 in the 8th inning and you're facing me and you don't come through. That eats you up more than the first 2 runs that you drove in because you had a chance to tie the game or win the game. And if you really take pride in what you do, it's that one that you didn't come through when you really needed to come through, not when you're down 6-1. I need to come through here when it's 5-4 in the 8th inning. We got a chance to tie that, and it wears on you after a while.
He's 100% right. His job is to get me out in that 8th inning, and my job is to come through in that at bat. Early, hopefully, if you come through the game's a wash. You're up 5-6 runs. Everybody's partying. But usually, when he was closing, he's facing that same guy on those same teams, the 2, 3, 4, 5 guys as a closer, and now he's facing that same guy as a setup guy. He's got to come through, and I got to come through. On that note, Dan, which I wanted to ask you about. When you were throwing mid-90s, you could go fastball slider.
Yes.
When you were throwing, when you became the setup man, you go fastball slider. And as you matured and got smarter, and you were learning, you add subtract from that. Boom.
Yes.
Now, 2020, you've got to face now 3 guys. What would you have had to add to your arsenal from the fastball and the slider to be able to get that right-hander out?
Would have had to come up with either a changeup, a split finger, a forkball. I would have needed something that moved down and away to right-handed hitters. I didn't have that Mo my whole career. What serviced me well the first 6 years, my ball had natural cut. I was kind of like Al Leiter. Used to just run a fastball into a righty. He would break more bats off right-handers than anybody. But Al had a difficult time getting the ball into a lefty and away to a righty. I was the same way. There is no way in today's game, if I wouldn't have come up with that third pitch or come up with a sinker, but I had a difficult time throwing that pitch. I couldn't throw it for strikes. I don't know if I would have been able to survive in the 3-batter minimum game because I would have had to spend one off season and go, okay, I've got to commit to a changeup, a forkball, or a 2-seamer. I have to have something going away to a right-hander because there's no place for me to play anymore. Like it's not a one-hitter league like it was for me for about 5 or 6 years. I had 2 things, Mo, that I felt why I pitched for 18 years. First one, I've always felt that my best ability was availability. Be available to pitch every day. If you're living and you're breathing and you show up to the ballpark, I don't know how many games I went out there and I warmed up and I'm like, man, there is nothing in this arm today. And you pitch a 1, 2, 3 inning, you go, wow, I can do this. And then as a young player, you don't have the confidence to do that. But as you get older, you take your warm-ups in the bullpen. You're like, I don't have anything. But when I get out there and I throw my 8 warm-ups, when that umpire points to me, I don't know how I'm going to make it work, but I'm going to make it work. Man, I would have had a heart attack early on in my career, because if I didn't warm up good, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. And I felt like this. I needed to be available. So I was lucky, man. 18 years. I never spent a day on the DL. How did you do that? All these injuries are happening right now. How did you do that? That is tremendous. And you took one of my facts from me right there that I was going to say about him being so durable. But how did you do that for 18 years and not go on the DL? Because availability is everything. Mo, I'm glad you asked that question. My rookie season, I'm with the Brewers, and we were the swing team. So the Brewers used to be in the AL East. For all the young viewers, they're thinking about, Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder and all these guys in Yelich. No, man, they're in the National League Central. No, the Brewers were in the AL East. Right. And we were the swing team, which meant in the month of September, we played a lot of the American League West teams. So we were in Toronto, and it was the first week of September. And we had a Sunday day game, and we were off on Monday going to Oakland. And after the game on Sunday, I walked into the training room, and Robin Yount was laying on the training table, and a doctor had about a 3-inch needle to give him an injection because he had turf toe. And I remember I walked in the training room and I saw that. I'm like, whoa, man, I'm not a big fan of needles. So I just walked away, and I'm like, man, I'm glad that's him and not me. Cause man, I don't know if I could, they'd have to knock me out to give me a shot in the toe. So we get to Oakland on Tuesday, and during batting practice, I'm standing there. When you're a young player, when you and I came up, it was, hey, keep your mouth shut, keep your eyes and ears open. You're not going to walk up to Carl Yastrzemski. You're not going to walk up to Dwight Evans and say, hey, how you doing, Dewey? If he talked to you, you talk to him. If not, you just went about your business. So I'm standing in left center field in the Coliseum in Oakland. And I happened to be shagging in batting practice, standing next to Robin Yount. And I didn't know how to make any conversation. We were standing there for about 2 minutes, which seemed like an hour. And I didn't say anything to him. And his nickname was the Kid. I said, hey, Kid, I got to ask you, did that needle hurt? He goes, hell yeah, it hurt. I go, whew. I go, you're in the lineup today. He goes, yeah. He goes, let me ask you something. He goes, did you ever fake like you were sick and your mom and dad went to work and you stayed home, you turned the TV on and had fun? I go, hell yeah, we all did that. He goes, that's how it is in baseball, man. You find out how easy it is to take a day off. You'll just keep doing it over and over again. And he walked away from me. He didn't laugh, Mo. He didn't say this. He said that. He said, you'll find out when you find out how easy it is, you'll keep doing it. And he walked away from me, and I was like, damn, like, I got it. Like, you didn't have to be a genius to realize, like, okay. What he was saying. Like, so I realized I had 2 things that I had to do. I had to stay off the IL, and I had to learn to get lefties out, or I was going to be out of baseball. Let's break it to something. Dan Plesac, 18-year MLB career. Games pitched 1,064. Win-loss 65.71. ERA 3.64. Strikeouts 1,041. Saves 158. 3-time All-Star, Brewers Hall of Fame. But let me tell you something else. This guy now played 18 years in the big leagues. He's got 15 years on MLB Network, getting ready to match the same amount of time as a player on MLB Network. You got to be doing some great stuff, bro. Like, come on, man. You're a professional. You're on both sides of it. And to that note, tell me what you felt about the playoffs and the World Series this year. How did you ingest that? How did you feel about that? I thought it was tremendous. And just so you know, I was going for the Guerrero family. I thought that, listen, and I love the Dodgers, and I love what the Dodgers do, and I'm fans, but I was going for Toronto. Tell me how you felt about the World Series and the playoffs. What'd you think of it? Started working at MLB in 2009. So I've covered 15 World Series. It was by far the best one I've ever covered. I will never, ever again, Mo Vaughn, get emotionally attached to a team because for the first time in my life, I know what a real fan feels like when their team loses. When the Blue Jays lost that 7 game, I was devastated. I mean, for a lot of different reasons. I had 4 wonderful years in Toronto, but I love the story. When you see guys like Ernie Clement and Nathan Lucas, guys that spent 5-6 years in the minors, nobody outside of really diehard baseball fans knew anything about these guys. Who the hell is Addison Barger, right? Chris Bassett, that was so devastating to me because it was a group of guys. Jim Valvano had this great quote, the NC State former basketball coach, and I happened to go to NC State. He said that ordinary people do extraordinary things every day. And that's all I thought of when I watched the Blue Jays play the last 2 weeks of the season. They've got, Davis Schneider, left fielder, wearing glasses, has the mustache. Bo Bichette's playing on one leg. They move him from shortstop to second base. And they stretched the best team in baseball to as far. And I'm going to give credit. I'm with you. You go back in 2024, the Padres had the Dodgers on the mat, ready to pin him. It was done. They found a way. They came back and won that series. I really thought when the Dodgers won that 18-inning game, the Blue Jays were in trouble. How in the world they came back, right? How they came back to win game 4 is beyond me. And then to win game 5. And I'm thinking, boy, they got a shot to do this now. They have a horrific loss to end game 6 on a double play, shallow line drive. Kike Hernandez makes a good play. Rojas makes a great scoop, a double play to end the game. And I thought, oh, man, they're in trouble. You've got Ohtani going game 7. He's this guy we've never seen. Bo Bichette hits the 3-run homer. And I thought, Mo, I'm telling you, I'm at the game and I'm like, they're going to win this thing. It's over. And so for a little moment, and I can sympathize, I never put on a Boston Red Sox uniform, but I can understand now how the Red Sox thought they had that World Series won by the Mets, and that ground ball gets through Bill Buckner. And I never really understood, as a player, you get detached from fandom, right? Because you got enough to worry about. My favorite team growing up was the White Sox. Once I started playing, I didn't give 2 cents about the White Sox. Whether they won 100 games, they lost 30, I didn't care. And once you start playing, you lose that connection of a team. If it's not your team, you're like, I don't really care. And I fell for it with the Blue Jays this year, Mo. I mean, game 7 in the 7th inning when they scored that extra run to make it 4-2 and Savage is coming in. I'm like, this thing's over, man. And then Muncy hits the homer to make it 4-3. And I'm like, oh, man, they didn't put the Giants down.
You're one mistake away.
Yeah.
That lineup. You got to be perfect, and it's hard.
It is. But I thought as far as back-to-back games, game 6 and game 7, the ups and downs and emotional swings, I'll tell you what, I don't think baseball has ever been in a better place than it is right now. And I had more people the last week since that World Series ends that are casual baseball fans come up to me and go hey, were you at those games? Yeah, I was at all of them. Wasn't that great? And these are just once the Yankees and the Mets are done in this area where I'm at, New Jersey, it's on to the Jets and the Giants. Baseball season's over. But even the casual fan drew an interest because you have this, this machine in the Dodgers. And who the hell are these Blue Jays? And man, they got a chance to knock them off. And in sports, there always has to be a villain, man. You didn't like the Patriots because they won all the time, and you wanted to watch to see if somebody got to knock them off. And that's how the Blue Jays felt.
So are you going to go back? Are you done being a fan now?
Oh, I'm done. I'll never do it again.
You're going to do that. That's what they always say.
I got to tell you, man, and I got to be honest. I work on TV. When I saw them setting up the stage for Fox for the trophy presentation, I got to tell you, Mo, I'm like, damn it, I'm getting out of here, man. I can't watch this. I'm out.
I hear you.
You'll be back. That's how it works.
I know.
You think you're around, man, and then you're not. You're not.
That's like at the end of my career last week. I'm like, I think I've had enough. And then First week of November, I'm like, nah, you know what? I think I got another year. I'm going to play one more. You're exactly
and
right.
On that note, Dan, you left. The Phillies wanted you back. You had a 2.70 ERA. You took it to the house.
Mo, only you could understand this.
Yep.
I got tired of fighting the fight. I got tired of January. I didn't know if I could do it again. So that last year, I'm throwing all the cards on the table. I really contemplated hanging them up after 2002.
Right.
So I decided I'm going to go one more year. Phillies pick up my option. I get to spring training, and the first day, pitchers and catchers, we work out, we do throwing, and then all of a sudden we do the PFP and we got to do the running afterwards. I was never so mentally and physically tired that I actually said to myself, I played 1 year too many. I am exhausted, and it hasn't even started yet. And you will know this as a former player. So I got really frustrated in April. Larry Bowa was my manager. Loved him, man. No BS, no nonsense. Mo, you show up on time and you play hard and you don't make any excuses. You will be hitting third in that lineup come hell or high water. But you better have an effort, and that's all he asked. So I was getting a little irritated. I was never a guy. Never went into a manager's office one time and asked, hey, why not playing? Why am I not pitching? I just figured, hey, you're a grown-ass man. Take your medicine. And if you perform well, you're going to play. Because in pro sports, it's not about, whose dad donates the most or gives the most money. It's, it's production. So I'm not pitching a lot. And all of a sudden, like the first week of May, I'm getting in these spots that I normally pitch in. And I never said anything. I eventually worked with Larry Bowa at MLB Network 15 years after I retired. So one day before we're going on the air, I go, man, there's something been bothering me for 15 years, man. I go, man, my last year, I go to spring training. I had a pretty good spring. I think I maybe gave up one run. You didn't even bring me in any games the first 3 weeks of the year. What the hell was going on? He goes, I was protecting you. I go, what do you mean? He goes, your stuff was short in spring training. I told Joe Kerrigan, we're going to use him when that fastball gets a little bit more life. Because I felt like, Dan, if I threw you out there in April coming out of spring training, I didn't care what your numbers were. You were pitching against numbers 78 and 85 against guys at A and a B game, and you're pitching in the B game. You pitched 10 innings, gave up one run, but you didn't face anybody. You were facing minor leaguers.
Right.
And you know what, Mo? He was right.
Yep.
He was right. And I knew he was right. And this is one thing. You get skewed when it's you.
Yep.
So I get done playing and, and I still felt like in my heart, Mo, when I knew I was done my last year, because I'm having such a good year. And the Phillies are talking to me in September saying, hey, I know, we'd like to have you back next year. And I'm like, man, I'm pitching good enough that I'm this much thinking about it, but this much, it's time to go away.
Right.
Week left in the season. This is the year the Marlins won it all in 2003. We're a game behind the Marlins with a week to go. And, it's hard. It's easy to be energized, man. A young team, Pat Burrell, we were Jimmy Rollins, man, Randy Wolf. The Phillies are starting to trend upward. Like, man, this is going to be, these guys they're young, but they're getting good. Maybe I ought to do this one more time.
Right.
I come into a game, Mo. First and second and one out in the ninth inning in a tie game to face Sean Casey. I fall behind ball one slider, ball two slider. It's 2-0, and now I'm like, okay, I got to get this guy out. And I threw ball one slider, ball two slider, both of them just off the plate. They were balls, but he didn't even offer at him. And I'm like, whew, he's got me. Like, he didn't chase me. He didn't offer. He didn't flinch. He didn't check. I'm like, all right, it's time for me to man up. So I took a step back and I was like, okay, for 18 years, maybe one time you could muster up one of these old Milwaukee Brewer fastballs and cut one loose. So I get 2-0, Mo. I come set and I throw a 2-0 fastball down and away. He takes it for a strike. And Mike Lieberthal caught it. And I was like, take that. Yeah, the old man still got some of it, right? I look up, you know, they got the pitch things in the stadium everywhere, right? I see type of pitch, FB, 88. I'm like, damn, I thought I was still throwing bullets, man. So at that point, Mo, I said, let me get Sean Casey out, and I'm getting the hell out of Dodge because that's the best bullet I have. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to throw another one. I throw him a 2-1 fastball. He hits the hardest one-hop line drive. Tomas Perez didn't catch it on a hop. It caught him. Almost hit him, like took his gut out. 4-6-3 inning double play. And I'm walking off the mound like, I mean, it was a rocket. And Larry Ball goes, God damn, way to go, man. You can get a ground ball when you need it. I'm thinking, the hell I can. When he hit that, I thought it was a base hit up the middle.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
You see the rise now that guys coming over from Japan got this forkball.
Yeah.
Right? And I always thought that the Blue Jays might have a shot because they had two guys with a good forkball that could stop left-handed hitting. What do you think now? Is the forkball coming back? What do you think? What do you think's happening?
Yeah, I do, Mo. I do. And I think for a couple of reasons. Hitters now are in that lift and separate mode now more than ever, right? Very rarely do you see hitters. I'm not saying all up and down the lineup, right? Because your Freddie Freemans, Mookie Betts, those guys, they're going to swing hard, but with 2 strikes, man, they're going to put the ball in play. They're going to put it in play hard. But I think you need something with this. Everybody wants that launch angle. They want to get the ball up in the air. They want to get it in the air. And I think we've gotten so enamored with velocity that now 95 is the norm now. Like 95 used to be like, damn, this guy's bringing it, man. You better get that bat head started early. He's 95, 97. You look at every team. You flip on any game, if you get the MLB package, flip on any bullpen from Miami to Seattle to Cincinnati to Cleveland, every guy coming out of that bullpen throwing 97 miles an hour. But they have no idea where it's going, most of them, right? I call them, we're in the era of dead brain heavers, man. Just grip it, rip it, and let it eat, right? And I think if you're a good hitter and you're a smart hitter and you have a little bit of discipline at the plate, those kind of guys feed right into your hands because ball one, 97 in the dirt doesn't scare Mo Vaughn. 97 neck high and away doesn't scare Mo Vaughn. 97 on the corner is like, this guy, not only he throws hard, but he has an idea where he's throwing it. So you have to have something that you can throw that looks like a fastball, that doesn't have a hump in it with a curveball or a good. Listen, a lot of guys, Mo, a lot of pitchers say, I've got a good curveball. You would watch that guy and you could tell that guy, dude, you think you got a good curveball, but you don't, man. I see the hump in it. It doesn't have the type spin. Oh, man, I got a vicious slider. And you'll see first pitch fastball. You'll see the slider, whether it's the arm angle, it's the wrist or something. You'll see like, man, I picked that up and I took him as 1AB. I got him figured out right now. I know when he's throwing a heater. I know he's throwing a slider. It's easier to pick up, but I think you need that pitch that looks like a fastball and comes out of the same arm slot as a fastball, and it comes in and you see that arm speed and the ball just goes left or right and you're not sure which way it's going to go. It's a really a devastating pitch. Mm-hmm. This is the problem. A lot of guys think that they have good ones, but what we saw in the World Series, Mo, we saw the guys with the best ones, right? So like Mo would say, hey, we're going to Seattle and man, these guys all throw a forkball. But like 4 out of 5 of them, the forkball, you're like, man, that thing doesn't do anything. He says he's got one, but he doesn't really have a good forkball. But you Savage and Yamamoto and Gausman, those are like 3 elite forkballs. So
that's why I was pulling for Toronto because I thought that those guys could really stop those lefties with that forkball.
And you and me both. And I tell you what, I couldn't get over you Savage second start. Got roughed up a little bit in the first one. Dodger Stadium on the road. Man, Mo, this guy looked like Roger Clemens 4 years in the big leagues. He didn't look at all like nervous. Like I know, listen, you look out at 60 feet 6 inches away and you up and down a pitcher, right? you could tell they go to their hat, they're wiping their head, they're rubbing the ball, they're rubbing their hands, and you're just sitting there going, man, this guy's shitting his pants. I got him right now. I got him. Same thing like with a hitter. That's what used to tick me off about you. You get in there, tap the bat once, get in there and stand there like this, and I'd be like, damn, he's ready to go. Oh, boy, this guy he's ready to dance. And then you get guys that come into the box and they're kicking dirt all around, they're calling timeout, and they're taking deep breaths and they're talking to their bat. And you're like, I got a chance with this guy. He's got so much going on between the ears right now that I got a pretty good chance I can get this guy. But it's the guy that walks up there, taps the bat once, stands there like this. I'm like, okay, this guy wants to fight. Oh, I better be locked in right away. Same thing, I would assume as a hitter, you look out at a pitcher and you see all this gyration going on. You're like, oh, boy. He's got to come to me.
That's how you were.
Yeah, right?
You stood there at 95, mid-90s, and along in your career, you stood there the same way with the confidence that I know what I'm doing, and that's all you need sometime.
It is.
Most times is that edge of he's confident, which makes me second-guess that time. And
it is, you know, and you know what? And you hear that slogan, man, sometimes fake it till you make it. Sometimes you're reeling, but man, you don't want to show me that you're reeling. You're going to get in there and dig in and tap the thing one time and get your hands up. And whether you're an 0 for 20, because I got to tell you this, when I'm facing you, I didn't care if you were 0 for 20 because I treated you like you were 15 for your last 20. I'll be honest with you. So they tell me before the game.
That's how you get. I mean, I got a son. I got a 13-year-old son. A boy. You know, he's an athlete, middle guy. You know, I talk about the mindset all day. I said, you got great talent, but that doesn't mean nothing. You got to have it here.
Yes.
You got to fake it. You got to push it. You got to make it always seem like you're ready. Even, you know, it's like a duck, you know, smooth on top, kicking like mad underneath.
That's the truth? That's the truth, man. Because like we're all kicking. We won't want anybody to know, but we're all kicking like mad to stay afloat.
And that's what you try to promote.
Did you, when you see these young pitchers these days, Dan, like all throwing like crazy, but do you have like a secret sauce? Because we talked about your durability to stay healthy, because we see so many arms get like blown to bits early on. Like, what do you think that is? And do you have any for any of our young listeners or viewers that like you thought were go-tos to keep your arm going?
I think first and foremost, you have to love what you do. If you love being a pitcher, if you love being a first baseman or an outfielder, you're willing to pay the price, what that comes with, to be that kind of a player. And that means that you take your diet serious, you take your rest serious, you take your workout serious, and your rest serious. And it's more difficult for kids now more than ever. It's different than when Mo and I were in high school and junior high, because we played football, we played basketball, we played baseball. And most of us, we were better athletes in the other sports. Baseball was just a sport you played in the spring. Your primary sport was football. Mine was basketball. And so spring was like, hey, I want something to do at the end of the year. But now parents and kids are under more pressure now that when you're 12 or 13, Bobby and Tommy, you're going to be a shortstop and you're going to be a pitcher. The training tools are better than ever. They have dietitians, they have trainers, sports and position specific for what they do. It's great, but it also can be a detriment because you have these 15, 16-year-old kids that have the wealth and the knowledge now. All you have to do is go on the internet, Google a workout for a pitcher. I'm 15 years old, and it'll set a program up for you. Hell, when Mo and I were playing, you were lucky if you knew anybody you could go talk to ask you about hitting, about pitching. Right. I was signed to go to NC State to play basketball. I did. Baseball was fun. And so my senior year, the high school baseball coach said, hey, you want to pitch? I'm like, I did that in Little League. He goes, we don't have anybody to pitch. I didn't have a curveball. I didn't have anything. I started pitching, struck out 15, struck out 18. I was the 42nd player taken in the draft by the Cardinals. I didn't know one thing about pitching, not a thing. But you know what helped me? I played basketball. I did other sports, and probably helped me because my arm didn't get beat up when I was 13, 14, and 15 and playing in a travel ball league. But I also knew it's a different time right now. And I mean, it's amazing. One of my colleagues at MLB Network, Mark DeRosa, his son's in that thing right now. And he shows me videos of his son hitting and playing shortstop. And my jaw drops. Like, his son's making plays going in the hole. You think his son's 21 years old? He's 16 years old.
Yep.
He's a junior in high school. And I watch him swing and I'm like, my man alive, this guy's got a beautiful swing. He's balanced. His back elbow's tucked. He's not lunging. His head's still. I'm like, man, but the kids now have so much better instruction and knowledge to figure out how to do it. The danger is just, don't overdo it as parents. Let them grow up. Let them be kids. Let them be kids, because Bobby's 15. He's not Yamamoto. As much as you think he's Yamamoto,
He's not.
that dude's a freak. That guy's a freak. And he's not Roger Clemens. He's not Randy Johnson. He's not Mo Vaughn. You got a long way to go to meet Mo Vaughn. You got, college. You've got the minor leagues. You've got ups. You've got downs. But I will say this. I marvel. We have at MLB when they have the draft, and I look at video from kids. I'm blown away at the skill set that 17 and 18-year-olds have right now. It's beyond. They look like big league players till you get up close. You're like, man, the dude isn't even shaven yet. But that guy can turn a 6'4" double play like I've never seen. It's amazing.
Amazing. Dan Plesac, we really appreciate you joining the Mo Vaughn podcast, powered by Perfect Game and the Vaughn Sports Academy. This is a pleasure.
You need me, I'm here. Call me up.
Mo
Stay
Vaughn.
strong. You're doing a great job. I love you. This was great. Thanks for coming down, man. Like I said, we didn't have to grow up together to know each other.
Boy, I'm telling you, boy. The best thing you said was the one thing, and it gives me goosebumps. When you're in that arena playing, man, and I looked at you from 60 feet, 6 inches away, I had a lot of respect for you then. And I have more respect for you now because of the way you respected me, the way I played. And I know that it's a mutual thing. You got a friend for life, my friend.
Same to you, brother. We'll be together. All right.
You got it. If you charge them out, I'm running too, brother.
Hey, I got it. Listen, we could sit and talk and give information now. I'm always like the times when I get to talk to guys that I competed with on the other side that I respected, because we had to at some point answer those questions from the reporter, and they weren't always good.
Yep.
And we knew how it felt.
You got it,
man.
Mo.
Thank you. See you again.
Over
See you
and out.
soon. All right.
You got it.
Later, bro.
You got it.
Bye-bye.